So growing up, I never really knew either of my grandfathers, and one of them died a few years before I was born. And I learnt from a young age what death meant to the world. And I got to see his grave, and the weird thing for me as a kid is just seeing your own name on a grave because I was named after him. So when I was dealing with Shane and doing some stuff on one of our mixtapes, we came up with a song that was a cover of the script song, If You Could See Me Now. And I wrote about my grandfather, Data Tony, talked about what he meant to my life. A few years later, it became See You Again. And I mentioned in one of the lines that I never let them call me Tony till a later age, because growing up with Data Tony in heaven was like, I never wanted to call myself Tony. And when the whole thing started out with If You Could See Me Now, it was about my grandfather never meeting him and Shane's losing his dad. So the song sort of naturally came together. I still remember I was on a train to university, and that's where I first heard the Scripps version of If You Could See Me Now, and I literally messaged Lycon saying, we need to do this song. When I heard that, I started writing, and like most of my songs, the first few lines I got before I went in the shower, it was really weird. And that was July 22nd. Every time it comes around, I wonder what it would be like if you were still around. And that sort of became the center of the song. Most of my songs I write in blocks. I do sort of piece by piece and a few lines at a time and just try and piece it together. And that July 22nd line was really the hook of my verse. And when I started writing that, it just all sort of came to me. All these questions that I had, like I was talking to him, even though he's not obviously here with us and I never got to meet him, but I've known him forever. And the things that we could have done and the things I wish we'd done. I guess when you got an inspiration like that, it just makes it really easy to write about. But now it's coming up to his 30th anniversary of his passing. I really want to do something special, which is why I'm trying to make this video and sort of showcase not only the story of the song, but the story of what my grandfather means to me. And that's why I wrote See You Again. I never realized the resemblance, and it's really quite strange looking at it now. Like, there's a picture here. It's just like, it honestly could be my grandmother, my dad, and me. It's really kind of haunting. It's only taken me 22 years to realize the resemblance. Who'd have thought? 30 years, and it's like these photos, man. Honestly, you know, he was such a big part of my life, but I never really knew it until about last year. So I knew I had to do something for his 30th. I remember we did something for his 20th anniversary in 2006, but it's just strange. It's really, really uncanny. It's actually funny. I hadn't listened to the original files in a while. I started listening to them last night. Because I thought the song really fit If You Could See Me Now really well. But I remember when everyone was going through that whole Paul Walker thing and that song was on the radio all the time, I didn't really feel a connection to the lyrics because it didn't sort of strike me as close. But when I heard the actual instrumental again and just sort of listened to it, I was like, I can make this really work with what I wanted to show. It's actually funny when I sort of go through and look at all these old files. I think it was about, we started recording this in 2013. We never released it. So that really sort of emotional beat to it, and that's what we're looking for. I think I even stole the If You Could See Me Now and the original as well. Actually, one of the reasons we scrapped the song altogether. When we did this version of the song, we really tried to sort of stick to the original, but because it was a rock rap song, and we wanted to keep that sort of idea with it, so we sort of kept the choruses rap, and we kept the hooks. I sang them, and it sort of worked, but it sort of didn't. And like, even if I can find the part, I think it's around here. I literally still their entire bridge in the verse. Like, it sort of felt a bit half done as well. It just didn't feel like it was really as powerful as it could have been, and I don't even know how I was trying to rap it. But then we kept it on the back burner for a while, and Shane had a bunch of parts, and the one thing that I really wanted to keep in this song was the part, if it's here, I took a bit of what was written on his headstone, and that became my part of the bridge at the end of the song. And then that part I think was one of the hardest parts to actually record. It's probably one of the hardest for me to listen to, because I always still feel that connection to it. So when I redid it for See You Again, that became part of the second verse. You can actually see I copied it a few times at the end, but I think in See You Again it's all a bit more more personal. It just felt a bit more personal because it wasn't such a poppy beat as well, I guess. And I also did a bit of I stole a line from I Still Call It Straight Home, where I was like, someday we'll all be together again, even though the original's Together Once More. But it just sort of was me like trying to sort of bare my heart in one song. Then when I did See You Again, I wanted to keep it a bit more simple this time, a bit more to the point, and you can see there's like way less tracks. I've sort of just done some little edits on it, but it was like one take and very personal. And one thing about the instrumental was great, but if I'd tried to sing the chorus, I probably could have sung it, but the way Charlie Puth sings that chorus, it really just sort of melts your heart a bit, and it sort of gives you this sense of finality and some like loss and closure. So I thought it was really, really well sung. So I didn't want to mess with that too much. Like one of them, as I said, I couldn't have probably done it better myself. He just conveys so much emotion with it that I knew I had to sort of leave it untouched. But I did want to sort of add my own twist to it, so I had to throw in some like little overdubs and all that sort of thing. I think the cool thing about doing this song by myself as well was that I could sort of say more about what I wanted to say, and I could actually give a bit of the story in it. And like going through those lyrics, I wrote them in one night, and it just sort of, it wrote itself. So it was really cool in that sense, just having a song sort of do that on its own. So when I started writing for If You Could See Me Now, I started writing from that July 22nd every time it comes around. And then I also had the Take My Rage put on a page, which was just ripped from the script version. And when I came to do See You Again, I had 2 verses to fill, and I didn't just sort of want to waste it or cut the song short. So I sort of split what I already had, and then again I sort of wanted to elaborate on sort of what Data meant to me as a kid. So obviously, as I said, when I was born, they basically named me after him completely. So I've got the same first and last name. So that was what sort of, it made that, again, the song sort of wrote itself. They gave me a name, it won't be the same. And as I said, I'd never let people call me Tony Wolf. Like, Tony Wolf was a name given to me by my cousin, one of his other grandchildren, who also never got to meet him. So Tony Wolf is like the sort of translation and colloquialism of my name, I guess, because of my surname. And then again, it's just trying to make the whole family proud, because that's what I do. And like every song I make is authentic, and it's easy for people to look at me and just say I make negative music, but I make music that's authentic and that's truth. So these songs like this is my bread and butter, because it's just so easy. It was so easy for me to spill my thoughts and my feelings onto a page or a computer screen, because the song just wrote itself. And I knew when I knew I wanted to write a song for and release the lyrics that were written. And then again, I sort of just regret not waiting a year and doing it for this year. But I guess the feelings haven't changed since I was a kid. So it was so easy to write. Just stuff like wish we could have gone to South Coast, because he's the one, when he came to this country, he lived in Redfern, and that's how they followed South, because they had the same colours as the Lebanese flag. And though I never met you, no, I'll never forget you, because I still remember going to the cemetery as a kid, and, seeing that grave, and it sort of was like he'd never really left, because I always knew him just from that. And one thing I really wish I could have done, and I just haven't had the time or the energy to do it with everything that's been going on, is to do a music video for this song. So hopefully this comes close. But I guess it's just like, this is my sort of message to the heavens. So it's a very personal song for me, but at the same time, it's a very happy song for me to be able to share what my grandfather meant to me, even though I never got to know him. So the whole symbolism about when we see a full moon, it's like the pain goes away. It goes back to a story from when I was a kid, actually. It's that's what the video for the I See You Again version was, because when the grandkids were little, we were all taught that, the full moon is Data looking down on you, because again, most of us have never met him. One of us has met him, and they're the eldest in the family in that sense. But we only either knew him as the headstone or as the full moon. So I thought that was a really important thing to showcase when I actually did the song and released it. So anyway, I guess there's not much more for me to say. I think I've said about everything I can on the song, so might as well let you guys hear it.